Thank you, Senator. And now we have a returning member who just can't stay away of this electric type of a commission and committee we have and the vibrant hearings that we hold. So we're happy to have you back, Senator.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, thank you for allowing me to be able to slip back in as well. So the witnesses, thank you for your ongoing work on this. I do have just a couple of questions dealing with LNG specifically and how we're getting natural gas to Europe and some of the gaps that are there. If I can talk through, Dr. Light, let me start on the permitting process for the export terminals. Obviously, we have additional export terminals that are coming online, trying to increase additional capacity. What's our timeline to be able to increase our capacity for exporting LNG to Europe and those allies that are really interested in getting replacement gas at this point? How long will it take to increase that?
Thank you for the question, Senator. I need to know what particular permit you're talking
Yeah,
about.
I'm not looking for a specific one. I'm just talking, because there's no specific company I'm trying to pursue to say, can theirs go faster? I'm just trying to figure out how fast can we ramp up, because this is not an instantaneous thing to say, well, let's just send more natural gas to be able to substitute. We have natural gas, but it's the infrastructure to actually get it out. And the terminals themselves to be able to permit, obviously to make the decision, is it in our national interest? Right. And I think that'd be my first question. Is it in America's national interest for our allies to get more access to American gas?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, so then how quickly could we ramp up over the next couple of years to increase capacity going to Europe?
So the department is involved in a number of internal conversations to try to streamline the process, to try to look at what's in the pipeline in terms of applications and make sure that those move forward expeditiously. There's another problem that we're facing, which is that we have permitted much more capacity than we're actually currently seeing. That we're going to have about 20 billion cubic feet per day permitted by the end of this decade. We have 29 that's already been permitted, but there's not movement to construct, right, based on those permits yet. And so that's an additional problem where we don't actually have to wait on the permitting process. It's really how do you make sure that you don't create this interminable gap and ledge where companies are not moving forward on permits that they already have, and that's something that we're looking at as well.
So is the focus on getting permits to say, we'll get you a permit to be able to do this if you're actually going to do it? What's the emphasis
That's
there?
part of the calculus there, and we'd be happy to work with your staff. It's my colleague Brad Crabtree who runs the Office of Fossil Energy and Carbon Management, who's at the front line of that, but I'm in constant conversations with him every day about this.
Well, part of the issue for them is they're always looking for long-term contracts to say, okay, if we actually spend the billions of dollars to be able to create this, are we going to be able to get the long-term contracts to be able to actually do it? That'll actually pay for it, obviously, to be able to recoup that cost on it. Is that what seems to be holding some of the companies back, is just the long-term contracting portion of it?
I think there's a concern there, and that's one of the reasons that President Biden and President van der Leyen created this U.S.-EU gas task force last March to try to actually drill down into that as one of the key things in order to create investment confidence into the future.
Okay, we've had sections of the Northeast United States that have actually been purchasers of Russian gas, which has always been the most ironic thing to me, that the United States is a purchaser long-term of Russian gas, because we don't have the pipeline capacity to be able to get we have American gas not very far away from it, we just don't have the pipeline capability to actually get there. Where is that gas coming from now that's coming into the northern part of the United States? Because we're not buying it from Russia anymore. We're getting it from where?
So this is sort of outside of my lane, but I don't know the answer to you. I'll make sure I get it to you. I believe some of that is coming up from the Gulf and getting redirected, but I don't want to swear to that here. I think that, you know, one of the important things here as we move forward on this as well is to make sure that we've got the cleanest, most competitive gas supply system in the world. Russia did not have that.
Right.
It was not a transition fuel that they were selling to Europe and the rest of the world. The United States wants that to be a secure, decarbonized supply. That's something you and I have talked about before, and I really see that as the future there. But I'll absolutely get you an answer back.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And that is one of the issues for me, is we produce energy in our exploration cleaner than anyone else in the world in the way that we do it, actually going to pursue the natural gas. And so for me, there's an incentive to say, if we're going to do this as clean as possible, because we're going to need natural gas for decades and decades still in the future as we're transitioning to whatever that other fuel source will be in the day, to be able to substitute for that consistent power source that natural gas is. We need to make sure it's coming from the cleanest possible production and exploration that we possibly can.
That's right. And I also think investment in abatement technologies as well. I mean, this is the way that we're going to make the world secure and decarbonize and solve all the problems together with respect to energy security, diversity of supply, and attending to our climate goals as well.
Okay, I appreciate that. I know I don't have a lot of time to be able to do this. Mr. Chairman, thank you for allowing me to be able to jump and ask a question, because this is a big issue, just a steady supply. We've obviously got a lot of natural gas companies here that are producing, that are hoping that they're actually helping support global peace, quite frankly, and not only American stability of our energy prices, but also the occasion.
Pipelines to move them, right?
We have to have the pipelines to move in. We have to have the export terminals to be able to get it there. They've got to be able to regasify on the other side as well. But there's also the contracting portion.
Well,
of it.
Senator, you're always welcome to come back anytime you want.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.